It's all about royalty in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. My name is Tom Campbell from Cultaholic Wrestling, and I'm here to tell you what happened at WWE King and Queen of the Ring. A lesser-spotted pre-show match to start. Jade, Cargill and Bianca Belair defend their WWE Women's Tag Team titles against Indi, Hartwell and Candice LeRae. The champs show off their power and their tag team prowess until Candice and Indi work over Bianca's injured knee. A hot pink hot tag to Jade Cargill turns the tide, busting out a series of stinger splashes and a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. Cargill eats some double team by the challengers before stumbling into a tag to Bianca. A wheelbarrow DDT into a slingshot German suplex gives the champs the win. A very predictable and well-received W for Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. The show opens proper with Liv Morgan challenging Becky Lynch for the WWE Women's World title. Now, during the pre-show, Liv Morgan was confronted by Dirty Dom, who said he'd flown to Saudi Arabia to make sure that Morgan didn't take Mami's title. Becky Lynch's Saudi Arabia special outfit is essentially a custom-fitted tuxedo-looking piece, which was brave considering it was 32 degrees Celsius in Jeddah. It's a scrappy affair with Becky getting early advantage. Morgan knocks Becky off the top rope to find a way into the match. And Becky comes back with a Bexploder. Near fall for the challenger off a code breaker. Near fall for the champ, countering Oblivion with what looked like the final cut reverse DDT. Liv gives us some rings of Saturn, but Becky rolls it into a disarmor as Dirty Dom makes his appearance at ringside to a chorus of boos. Dom distracts Becky to give Liv a 2 off a code breaker, and then he slides a steel chair towards Becky. Gets on the apron to run distraction, hoping that Becky will use the weapon to win the day, but it backfires, and Liv DDTs Lynch onto the chair. One Oblivion later, and it was Oblivion for Becky Lynch as Liv Morgan becomes the new Women's World Champion. Dom and Becky look livid as Morgan leaves as new champ. A good opening to the show that seems to pave the way for a Liv Morgan-Rhea Ripley showdown at SummerSlam. Maybe another custody of Dominic ladder match. Next, the Intercontinental Championship is on the line with Sami Zayn defending against Chad Gable and Big Bronson Reed. Chad sends Maxine to the back before the match and tells Otis to stick to the plan. So shenanigans are afoot. We had a QR code pop up during Bronson's entrance, leading to more Wyatt 6 mysteries before Sami Zayn gets a hero's welcome, complete with video package and the loudest ovation of the night. The Superdome is Sami's house. Loud Olay chants and phone-like fireflies are out for Sami Zayn tonight. This match gets wild quickly, with Sami taking a shoeing from the challengers. Gable even busts out some Fit Finlay by trapping him in the ring apron and giving him a good old battering. A huge dive outside the ring onto both Reed and Gable puts Sami back in the fight. A Tower of Doom with Bronson on the ground floor leads to dueling moonsaults from Reed and Gable. We get an ankle lock centipede soon after, with Zayn ankle locking Gable, who is ankle locking Reed. After several failed attempts, Sami Zayn lights up the night by getting Reed up for a blue thunderbomb, but Reed rebounds with a stacked up Samoan drop and a bloody suicide dive. Sami avoids a tsunami from Reed and weathers a storm of German suplexes from Gable, but Chad gives us a bit of that wild strength that he has by German suplexing both Reed and Sami at the same time. Now is the time, Chad tells Otis, who proceeds to take out Bronson Reed on the outside of the ring. He then has second thoughts about doing the same to Sami Zayn. He gets chewed out and slapped by Chad Gable for this, and Otis seems to come round to the idea, but accidentally flattens Gable instead of Sami. This leads to Sami Zayn landing a haluva kick on Bronson Reed for the 3, ending an excellent Intercontinental title match with the champion retaining. A match packed with big moments and a super loud crowd. Corey Graves says, "Tonight belongs to Sami Zayn," and he couldn't be more right. The Queen of the Ring finals take center stage next. Will the crown go to the irresistible force Nia Jax or the newcomer Lyra Valkyria? Lyra gives it socks from the start, but Nia overpowers her at every turn, wearing her down and cutting off numerous comeback attempts by lobbing her around the ring. She goes for the Annihilator, but Lyra moves, and Nia's hole meets her old friend, the ring apron. Lyra hits a bulldog outside the ring and a tornado DDT inside the ring for a near fall. The match ends suddenly and violently as Lyra tries to counter an Annihilator with a powerbomb off the rope. Nia just drops all her weight onto Lyra and crushes her hopes, her dreams, and possibly her ribcage to become the Queen of the Ring. Paul Levesque crowns Nia Jax, and in her inauguration speech, she vows to become women's champion at SummerSlam. A Davina versus Goliath match with a finish that will make you wince. Nia Jax and Bayley on track to rekindle an old rivalry this summer. Backstage, Becky Lynch chews out Dirty Dom for his malfunction that cost her the Women's World title. She then reveals to Byron Saxton that she's invoking her rematch clause and wants to face Liv Morgan for the Women's World title this Monday on Raw. But right now, all eyes turn to the King of the Ring final between Gunther and Randy Orton. We're on to the semi-main event of the Premium Live event already, and with still an hour and a half or so to go, Orton is taking his sweet time walking to the ring as the Superdome sing his theme tune, I think 3 times. Gunther, get ready to learn the lyrics to Voices. It's a stalemate for a long time, which the crowd in Jeddah are loving. Orton goes for an RKO, which Gunther avoids, leading to the ring general working over Orton's back. Despite tweaking his injured knee, Orton fights back into the match with a suplex, a power slam, and a draping DDT. Gunther stops the rot quickly with a top rope splash for a 2. A second splash finds no water in the pool and leads to an RKO, but Gunther rolls out of the ring to avoid getting pinned. Outside the ring, Orton gives Gunther not 1, not 2, but 3 backdrops on the announce table. But the damage to Orton's back has been done. Orton gets buckled by Gunther as he re-enters the ring, and he gets a half crab locked on his injured leg. Randy manages to escape the submission and land an RKO out of nowhere, but he couldn't use his knee for leverage in the cover, so Gunther kicks out. And as Orton sits up in pain, he leaves himself open for a crucifix by Gunther and a pin for 3. Controversially, Orton's shoulder was very clearly off the mat, and Corey Graves says we could do with another angle of that cover. Despite this, Gunther is crowned the King of the Ring. He's presented with the literal crown by Triple H and says today the apex predator became prey. He then vows at SummerSlam to become World Heavyweight Champion. A match that won't be remembered for its breakneck speed. We saw an old school wrestler tonight win an old school wrestling match to punch their ticket to SummerSlam. Backstage, Triple H announces that not only is Drew McIntyre cleared to return to the ring, but he will challenge Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash at the Castle in Glasgow next month. There was a bit of confusion from the crowd in Jeddah because they thought the match was being announced for now as opposed to next month at another show, and the cheers turned to boos very quickly. It's main event time with US champion Logan Paul challenging Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. Special guest ring announcer for this is actor Ibrahim Al-Hajjaj. He's the guy who dropped the people's elbow on Grayson Waller last year. Cody starts well, but Logan Paul takes the lead with some boxing strikes in the corner. The story is that Logan Paul, who has a penchant for brass knuckle shuffles in title tussles, doesn't need his weapon of choice and shows it with a welcome return of the alley-oop, a standing moonsault, and an octopus stretch. Cody's ribs are hurting, but it doesn't stop him landing a disaster kick that sends Logan to the floor. Cody roughs up one of Logan's entourage, and while distracted, another one slips Logan Paul some of those brass knucks, which he buries into the guts of Cody Rhodes. Michael Cole reads Logan Paul the riot act here for using the knucks after he promised that he wouldn't. Corey Graves stops Logan from knocking Michael Cole on his backside here. In the chaos at ringside, Cody has recovered, and he lands a dive onto Logan Paul to get back into the fight. Logan misses a buckshot lariat, giving Cody chance to land a Cody cutter for a near fall. Logan Paul almost finishes off Cody with his own move, the Crossroads, but only gets 2. Logan Paul goes to pay tribute to the new era with a pedigree on the announce table, but Cody breaks free and lands a Cody cutter, this time onto the table. Cody stops the ref from counting out the challenger, which is almost his downfall. Logan Paul lands a punch clean on the jaw of Cody Rhodes and follows it up by chugging a prime and hitting a frog splash off the top rope through the announcer's desk. A second frog splash, this time in the ring, only gets 2.5, much to the frustration of Logan Paul. Through pain in his midsection, Cody pushes on, but a malfunction leads to the ref getting knocked out with a splash in the corner. Cody Rhodes pulls out a vertebraker, but there's no ref to count the 3. Logan Paul capitalizes on the lack of officiating with a low blow, and he goes for a brass knuckle strike, but guest ring announcer Ibrahim grabs Logan Paul's leg to stop him in his tracks. It gives Cody chance to recover, grab the brass knucks as they're coming towards him, and hit a trifecta of Crossroads for the 3 count. The American Nightmare is still undisputed WWE champion. And that was WWE King and Queen of the Ring. A fun show overall that, with just 5 matches on the main card and 1 on the pre-show, whizzed along. I think one of the big complaints from Elimination Chamber Perth was there was a lot of downtime between the matches. That seemed shorter this time, and it meant there was more time for what was going on in the ring, and it led to a shorter, more bite-size events. Would love to know what you thought of King and Queen of the Ring, a show that really set things in motion for SummerSlam this year. Let us know what you thought in the comments below.